Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about tips for students, specifically vegan students or people who, not necessarily just vegan students, some of them are specifically for food, but also just general tips on saving money, and even if you're more interested in eating a bit more whole food based or just healthier, these tips will hopefully help you out a little bit. So I've just finished my second year at uni. First year lived in halls, but technically they were flats, but they were non-catered, so I had to cook for myself, and second year lived in a house, obviously not catered, and had to cook for myself and fend for myself and spend my own money and budget and all that jazz. So yeah, these are some of my top tips that I'm going to share with you now. Also, just wanted to apologise before I start. I know I'm wearing a jacket inside and it looks kind of weird, but that's because the play suit I've got underneath, it's a lovely play suit, don't get me wrong, but the button at the back is broken. It's been broken for about 2 years now and I've just never got around to fixing it. It broke. We went to see Ben Howard, I think it was 2014, so maybe it was 3 years ago. We went to see Ben Howard at Ali Pali in North London, and I was just dancing too much. The button broke, and then for the rest of the gig I had to kind of stand like with my hands at my side, just sort of swaying, so it wasn't so great, and I'm just lazy. Haven't fixed it, so I apologise for the jacket. It's just keeping things in place, you know? But anyway, enough about that, on to the tips. Tip number 1, be prepared. Quite an obvious one. The Girl Guide motto. Was it the Girl Guide motto? Pretty sure it was. To love my God, do my best, serve my queen and country, love other people and serve the Girl Guide law. Something like that. Where's be prepared from? Is that the Boy Scout? Anyway, be prepared. You don't have to plan out your meals for the entire week, but just have some meals in your head that you know you can go to and make, have those ingredients. Make a list, make a routine list, and try to avoid sort of corner shop prices because they're so expensive. So make a list, and when you go to the supermarket or the market, if you go to uni in a city, there's likely to be a farmer's market on. So definitely do a quick Google and check if there's a market on, because it's nice to buy locally sourced goods, you know? But be prepared and pack your meals the night before. If you're gonna be on campus all day, pack food, even if it's just fruit and veg, you know? Pack something so you've got something to take you through the day, and try not to buy food on campus unless you've got like a meal card. It's just a waste of money. It's a waste of money. So expensive, so overpriced. And secondly, this is my second tip, but also kind of interlinked. Invest in some Tupperware at the beginning of the year and make your lunch, take it with you. Make meals and freeze them. You know, make big bulk meals and then just freeze them, put them in the freezer. When you get home from uni, you can just take them out of the freezer, defrost them, especially if they're vegan. Like obviously meat, I don't even know how you handle meat because I haven't prepared meat in years, so I don't know about the whole like defrosting kind of thing, but obviously vegan meals, there's no real right or wrong. You just have to defrost them, heat them up, and then, you know, you've got your meal for the evening. And you can do that at the weekends, and then every day you've got a dinner planned, you know? Easy. Be prepared. It pays to be prepared. Fail to prepare, prepare to fail. There we go. Take a flask with you. Whether it's a flask of tea or a flask of coffee, bring it with you, because teas and coffees are just the most overpriced things. Does it cost £3 to make a cup of coffee? No, it probably costs about 3p. I never really thought about this until my mum brought it up, because she said that back in her day, like, they didn't really go out to have coffee. It wasn't as big of a thing as it is now, like going out to a coffee shop or a tea shop or whatever. And I know it's nice, but it just costs so much money. And if you're just going for the ambience, then yeah, cool, go to Starbucks. But if you're going because you want a cup of tea, take it with you. Also a bottle of water. Don't spend money on water, like bottled water. It's pointless and it's expensive, and especially if it's on campus, you'll be paying like well over the odds of what it's worth. You can get water for free. Just use your tap. And also maybe carry a bottle of non-dairy milk just in case, like soy or almond milk, just in case they don't have non-dairy options if you do want to buy a tea or coffee on campus. My third tip is to buy in bulk. And when people say that vegan food is expensive, vegan food is not expensive. The stuff that's expensive are the substitutes and the superfoods. So this is kind of like 2 tips in one. But firstly, buy in bulk, and secondly, go easy on the superfoods. So starting with the buy in bulk thing, the cheapest foods are vegan. Like things like potatoes, rice, lentils, like so cheap, so cheap. And the more you buy, usually the better deal you get. You know, things like beans, chickpeas, especially if you buy them dry, you can get like a kilogram of beans or chickpeas or a massive bag of rice or potatoes for next to nothing. So buying in bulk definitely pays off in terms of money, and it's great because it means you can do one big shop and then you're kind of sorted in terms of the basis of a lot of meals. For example, my mum is obsessed with Southall for cheap ingredients in terms of, you know, like basis for things like curry, like rice and spices and things like that. She's always like, let's go to Southall, which is like great. I love Southall, it's a great day out, but you know, you can go to the world food section of your supermarket or go to your local market. You don't have to trek to a specific place, which is great. It's a product of globalisation, it's brilliant. Definitely buy in bulk, and also share within your house. Like if there's anyone else who maybe is vegan, or even if they're not vegan, say like, do you want to share a bag of potatoes? Because everybody uses potatoes, let's face it. You make them into chips, you can use them in curries, you can use them in loads of different dishes. So definitely share, and if you do want to share with another vegan, maybe check the vegan groups on Facebook. They usually do them kind of regionally, like I'm part of the Nottingham Vegans group, and yeah, people sometimes post on there saying like looking for a housemate, or does anyone want to house share next year, and it's kind of easier if you're living with other vegans in terms of sharing food, so that could be an idea as well, a little bonus tip for you. The second thing that I mentioned was go easy on the superfoods, and by that I mean things like chia seeds, or you know, non-essential things like, I don't know, what's another example? Cacao powder. I mean, I love cacao powder, that's a bad example. I also love chia seeds. But there are certain things like maca powder, or, you know, things that you might not necessarily need, but they are the things that they'll up the price on, especially when there's like a craze around them. Those are the things that do cost a lot of money. And also substitutes, like meat substitutes can, not always, because sometimes you can just use own brand, like Asda mincemeat, which is egg-free, dairy-free, meat-free, but sometimes specifically cheese sort of substitutes can be quite expensive. So, you know, maybe only buy a little, maybe don't go ham, pardon the pun, on the meat substitutes and the cheese substitutes. And in terms of milk substitutes, make your own. Like you can make your own oat milk out of oats, you can make your own almond milk out of almonds, really easy, probably cheaper. You can make it in bulk, and you can, yeah, customise it, add a bit of vanilla if you want, add a bit of cinnamon if you want. It's up to you. The world is your oyster, but not oyster because vegan. Darn it, that was another one of my tips, make your own milk. Okay, what are we on now? 5? 4? I'm going to say 5. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 5. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh yeah. It's all starting to blur into one now. I think it's tip number 6. I guess I'll find out when I'm editing this. But tip number 6 is to have some, no matter how healthy you want to eat, and organic or so on and so forth, have some junk food in the house, even if it's a tiny little bit. Maybe it's your time of the month, maybe you've had a really bad day and you just want some kind of like comfort food. Like for example, I know baked beans aren't that healthy, I get that, they're full of sugar, they're quite salty, but sometimes I just want beans on toast. That's just what I want. I know it's high in sodium, but that's just what the heart wants, you know? And to have a little bit, you know, a tin of beans here or there just like tucked away in the house, it stopped me doing things like ordering delivery, or Uber Eats or Just Eat, you know, like takeaways and things like that. That's when you start spending money that you don't have, and it's just a waste of money really, because if you think about how much you pay for delivery, and especially if you're just doing it for yourself and not sharing with someone else, it all adds up. So have a little bit of junk food in the house, even if it's just like a chocolate bar or a tin of beans, just something to be there if you need it, a safety net if you will. Tip number 7, oh that's 6. Tip number 7 is to buy frozen fruit and frozen vegetables. Honestly, this tip, if you do any of these things, I would recommend this one if you're a vegan or if you like fruit and veg. Especially when you're just buying for yourself. In first year, it was definitely a learning curve, and my veg just kept going off and it was just such a waste, especially because obviously when you're just buying for yourself, sometimes you buy over the amount you actually need and it's just such a waste. Whereas if you've got it frozen, it lasts so much longer, and it tastes just, to me, I know some people disagree, but I think it tastes just as good. And also apparently it has more nutrients in because it's like frozen on site, so it loses less of the goodness, and you also save money. I found I definitely saved money, not just because of the amount I wasn't throwing away, but also the amount you get for your money, especially with frozen fruit, because for things like berries, they can be quite expensive if you buy them fresh, but if you buy them frozen, that's not that bad considering how much you get, especially things like blueberries and strawberries and, you know, raspberries and so on and so forth. Berries can be quite sour if you get them frozen, but things like mango you can get in Aldi, frozen mango, frozen grapes, loads of different things. So I would highly recommend frozen fruit and frozen vegetables. Even if you're not vegan and you just want to get some more fibre in your diet, putting some frozen vegetables on your cereal, not frozen vegetables, putting some frozen fruit on your cereal, things like that. It's just really easy ways to be a little bit more healthy and not spend a fortune. So tip number 8 is to use your microwave where you can instead of heating up the entire oven, because it costs quite a lot of money to heat up the entire oven compared to using a microwave for 4 minutes or however long. So for example, I use the microwave all the time to cook potatoes and sweet potatoes, and also obviously defrosting fruit and veg instead of using the gas hob. But specifically for potatoes, pierce them with a knife or a fork all the way around and then put them in the microwave for 5 minutes, maybe 6 minutes, and then they're cooked. And it's quicker, it's easier, and just all round a lot more convenient. Tip number 9 is to stay inspired, stay on that meat-free path, that dairy-free path. I've actually got a list of my favourite food YouTubers on my blog, which I'll link down below if you're interested, because YouTube's a great place to get inspiration, like recipe inspiration. There are loads of vegan channels and recipe channels. My favourite ones, I love Jess Beautician. She does amazing what I eat in a day videos. Sometimes I just go back and rewatch her old ones just to get some more inspiration. I also love Hot for Food. There are loads of channels. Definitely check out my list because there are some good recommendations on there. But also cookbooks and magazines. Like my auntie sent me this magazine because she's super cute. But this is the Vegan Life magazine, which is amazing. I mean, it's all about veganism. It's not just recipes, but it's got some really good inspo in here. Ooh, holiday orange spice cake. Could do. Mini tofu frittatas. Nice. Anyway, just make sure you stay inspired and don't lose interest, because veganism is a joy, you know. It's not supposed to be hard, it's not supposed to be like a sacrifice, it's fun. And the last thing I just wanted to mention has nothing to do with food at all, but just in terms of keeping warm, because heating costs quite a lot of dollar. Obviously hats and jumpers are a given. Sleeping on a blanket, like being like a little sandwich in between 2 blankets at night really helps in the winter as well. So that has nothing to do with food but saving money, so I thought I would mention that. So those are my 10 tips on saving money / eating vegan / eating more healthily on a budget. Hope that was useful and I hope you enjoyed this video, and hopefully I'll see you very soon. Bye! Thank you.